hard. Back to what we saw today. Let's take a closer look, gentlemen. The Seattle Seahawks headed back to the Super Bowl. They won Super Bowl 48. They're going to compete in Super Bowl 49 with the New England Patriots. Of course, it was today's 28-22 victory in overtime that got them there. Is this year's version of Seattle's team better or worse, in your opinion, than the team that won it all a year ago?
Well, number one, you can't say this year's team is better because this team hasn't won anything yet.
You have to make your opinion.
I understand. That's what I'm setting it up as. Now, I'm just saying, I'm just putting the facts out there for what they are. Now, when you look at the numbers, that's all great. The main numbers that I look at is the defensive numbers. When you talk about scoring, yards, and turnovers, they led the NFL in all three of those last seasons. The only team to do that before them was the 85 Bears, and we know what category the 85 Bears, and they're up with the legendary defenses of all time. So I'm still going to go with last year's team for what they were able to do. This team has been very impressive so far this season, but still, at this moment, they have not been able to go ahead and slip that ring on the finger.
I'm going with this year's team because there's a reason why you don't repeat as back-to-back Super Bowl champions. They even get to Super Bowl back-to-back. Right. Because when you win that Super Bowl, you play more games than everybody else. You're tired in the offseason. You have that Super Bowl hangover, which the Seahawks pretty much had the beginning of the season. They struggled. And they have been together longer. They have that chemistry on the offensive line. That Legion of Boom, and they thought they could reach each other's minds last year. This year, they know where each other's going to be without even looking.
But
and they trust each other. I feel like that intangible says something, and everyone knows what they're going to do.
It don't mean a thing if you don't get that ring. Well, technically, they don't have it yet.
They haven't played the game yet.
It doesn't matter. They still don't have it. Now, if they go on to win the Super Bowl, I will come back and maybe I'll change my argument.
That's what I wanted to ask you. But
currently at this time,
remains to be seen.
Yes. We can't go out there saying, well, this team is no.
Well, how about at this point in the year last year?
Again, at this point, I still would take last year's roster because, again, you have to factor in, although they've managed to win without Percy Harvin, imagine if they play the Super Bowl last year and don't have him, the difference maker that he was making the big plays in that game. Just think about that.
Their top receiver is the 46th best receiver in the league.
Thank you for adding to my argument. That's why last year's team is better.
But they're still able to win with him.
They haven't won a championship yet.
That is an interesting debate.
Just saying.
May have swayed me a little bit, Ro, with your passionate argument there. I was inclined to think this year's squad, no matter what happens in the championship game, but might be onto something.